ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is your host for the Dreams Money Can Buy podcast, Skip from BK. This guest right here, obviously, it's going to be a good conversation. This is a person that obviously looks like me, but way better. And his fashion taste is just out of this world. But I think he's just an engaging and pretty on point on media personality, great host, and just an amazing young gentleman who's going to be a very big light going forward and onward. So, guys, without further ado, this is Michael Wade, who happens to be my actual little brother. Like, actual brother. I know I say bros a lot, but this is like actually my brother. So, guys, this is Michael Wade. We got him in the building, man. How you doing?
You feel me? I'm all right. Thank you for having me. Yeah. It's great to be here. It's a very nice building to be in.
Yeah, it is. It is. So, the people that got in here is just... this is very elusive, so we don't say where it is, but it's a nice building. And we got the snacks, we got everyone having refreshments and stuff like that. But I want to say some quotes that I found. I think these will resonate with you deeply. So, I used to dream of the things I now experience. Every opportunity is a new challenge to prove why I deserve another. Each day brings new meaning. Heights of great men reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, were upward, toiling through the night.
Wow.
Who has those quotes? Who has those quotes?
So, I mean, the second one of heights and great men reached and kept, I'll start off with that. I mean, my grandfather told me that growing up. Of course, we're brothers, but we only share one grandfather. My maternal grandfather used to tell me that all the time when I was younger, and I was just like, okay, I understand it, but what does it really mean? And that's one of the things that you just never understand until the time passes by. You never understand until the night passes and the morning comes again, and you have that cycle and transition, which ultimately lets you know that everything is just divine and as it should be. But the first one, sheesh.
I believe it was on one of your websites. I think it was either a website or an interview. I don't remember which one it is, but I just picked those off when I was like researching you. And I was like, he has good taste in quotes. He has great taste in quotes.
You know, it runs in the family.
Yeah, we love quotes. We
grew up on that's what we live by.
We grew up on them.
Yeah, that one is actually, that's me.
You did say that.
Yeah, I got to a point in time when I was developing my own website. whoismichaelwade.com. The domain is still there, but you feel me? Hopefully I could develop it in the coming times. But essentially, it describes me in a space of just reflecting on the past, being in the present, and then having more so optimism for the future. Because it's like, yo, I dreamed of these things that I have now, but each day you're going to be faced with new problems. And then when you dream of something and then you wake up and then you experience your dream, it's like, well, do I go back to sleep again to dream? Or do I have to dream all over again? Do I have to disengage from this dream that I married and then somehow put together the pieces and go towards a new one, which is a totally new journey within itself. So it's almost just a time of just reflection. And it provides a feeling of melancholy because it's like, this feels good, but what's next? And almost as a creative, I'm pretty sure you could relate. Like, somebody asking you what's next when you don't know yet is like, yo.
It's crazy. Because it's like we haven't fully mapped it out. But what we always do with Dreams Money Can Buy, we always like to start at the beginning, right? Just to see, like, the foundational kind of like experiences that got you to this point. Because, like we mentioned earlier, I don't think we imagine us being in our current positions. I don't like. Do you remember what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, I remember you said some like amazing thing. I think like an astronaut or something like crazy. Like
yo,
that.
Man, I used to chat when we was younger, but I mean, yo, I could have wanted to be anything. I do remember an astronaut was just one of the things that I felt was so astronomical. No pun intended. But it's like, yo, somebody goes to the moon or somebody is in space. That's something that a lot of people don't get to experience. So I think that was just like just foretelling of me just wanting to do things that a lot of people don't necessarily have the ability to do. So wanting to be somebody who's unique and independent in the way where I create my own story that somebody else could read about. Of course, you hear about A words instead of Apple. You feel me? When you're learning the alphabet, it's Apple, astronaut. You always see this picture of just somebody in a suit. So it's like, you dress for the occasion. It's like, it's a great dream. But I think other things, growing up, you also want to be a ball player. Who didn't want to be one?
I realized quite earlier that the better brother in basketball was playing basketball, and that was you, because I had commitment issues.
But I mean, that also took a long time, because when we were younger, like, naturally, I used to lose to you. So, and that was a very, very frustrating.
It was, but it's unfortunately, it did build a different type of character when you had your own lane and just seeing you with the basketball. And we'll touch on like dance and other things. Mm-hmm. I think those type of areas kind of like molded you into like the individual that you are today. So we got to start off with one of the most important figures in you when it comes to school and support, and just putting their foot straight up your ass. Got to talk about Mom Dukes. So, you lived with Mom Dukes, your mom. We have different moms, so we're still brothers. Like, how was Mom, like, on your ass growing up, Like, because I know she was on your ass.
All right, so she was definitely on me, but I don't think she realized that, I don't think I even realized how necessary it was. Because anybody can get distracted. Anybody could be like, you know what? I don't know if I want to do my best today, so I'm going to do okay. And I remember, like, even fast forwarding a little bit, straight through the preschool and the elementary and the junior high school, there were a lot of decisions that were made academically that I had no control over. My mom, she decided that she wanted to remove me from the junior varsity first cut. So I made the first cut in sophomore year of high school, and she removed me because I had like an 83 average. She wanted 85 or 84. And I'm like, yo, kids are failing off the team for having below 65s. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it could get a whole lot worse. But that also allowed me to understand that there's some sort of integrity that comes with what you put in is what you're going to get out. And if you don't understand that or learn that from a young age, then it will spill over into so many of your other crafts. But I mean, I think it'd also be remiss of me to say that, like, I wasn't given a firm structural foundation for learning. And from the parent that we do share, dad, like, man, we had a whiteboard in our room growing up. You feel me? No TV, so.
Dog, bro. Like us doing like the multiplication tables, I'd probably have to be on the board right now doing it. And I think with just how we were doing schoolwork in the summertime, and I think with that, it's just. But that's that discipline that we got from our respective parents. And I think it's shown as we get through this journey of showing like your kind of like story arc of Michael Wade, and the monikers that you have and the slight adjustments to it and why those occur. I think that's what makes it great. So in addition to just the parents, you have church, you have basketball, you have dance. And we're going to talk about that because that helps with your moves when it comes to something else that you do that has even made you even more immaculate. But the church, like, I know you're more of a church, because when we went to church together, we would always fall asleep. Yep, I know, and
definitely
that was horrible.
But we were dressed to the T.
We looked good.
We looked real good.
But we were nap time kids.
For a fact. And then we also had the Sunday school or the section that we had to go to, and it was real different in that church. But I also did grow up in just the Lenox Road Baptist Church in East Flatbush. And I think being a part of that institution taught me so much of just being around people. When you, in America, in New York City, you oftentimes can fall victim to being a homebody at a very young age. Like, you're inside, you don't have any friends. And even with this day and age of technology, like, it's that much easier for the young ones to do the same. But when I was growing up in a church, I was forced to speak to people that I had no idea who they were, where they came from, what their backgrounds were, and I had to learn that. So it's almost like I developed interpersonal skills at that level in time. I also feel like it was very different from school, because you have school and then you have the church, and then you have also other spaces that you can meet and congregate and build with people. But it's more so about the spiritual support, and you understand that there's an aspect or a realm of spirituality that has a lot to do with your well-being. I remember going to church and leaving church and feeling somewhat refreshed as the years went by. And then I can accredit it to me being able to just listen, tune in, and apply those lessons of the book of life, is what a lot of people refer
It
to
is.
the Bible.
It's one of the books of life.
Yeah, so it's like you get to apply that. Like you're in a setting to learn, but your learning mechanism is totally different. And even dating back to like just learning how to learn, that's a skill within itself. So if you can learn that in school, you learn that at home, and then you learn that in church, it's just a whole nother place that will prepare you for the other places that you have to learn to be yourself and grow.
So, like, touching on like a lot of those things, right? So, parents, typical Jamaican thing, where it's like excellence and stuff like that in the church when it comes to, like, I make this joke and it's kind of messed up that I'm gonna say this because this is our other brother, but I'll be like always saying when it be like the comparison is like, yo, Michael is like more of our like holy brother because like he's dressed to the T, his style's up. I'm like in the middle. It's like I'm good, but I sometimes do bad things. And then we have, you know, our other brother Khalil, and he just be like, please don't piss this man off, you know? And I think with that type of energy is just because what additional environment molded us, right? Mm-hmm. So for you, it's like that church, that community that you lived in that part of Brooklyn. Don't need to say where it is because y'all weird, I know, with that. And, you know, how our brothers, our brother, how he grew up in like that part of the city in Queens, and me growing up with Pops, it was just a different way of like, damn, this is different environments. And I feel like that goes into like our shared love of basketball. I just think like black boys, regardless, we just love basketball and football. But for us, like we really
it was
love
basketball for us for sure. Our dad was not with the head cracking and is suiting up for my boys to be out on the field crunching each other with like he wanted to protect our
probably
brand.
Soccer. We just didn't get into it. I wish we did though.
Yeah, he would have loved that soccer thing if any of us got good. But I ain't gonna hold you. When we realized that he was good at basketball, it was like we were already knee deep in basketball.
Yeah,
so
I was like,
oh snap. Like why? Well, you could do this whole time. And you was.
My dad was old and he's kind of like disabled and not like wheelchair, but like he has a back injury. Mm-hmm. Yo, he just put work on this young dude.
Do you remember? He was playing in pants.
That dog
and he took off his shirt.
And that dude did like a quick ass layup and he was like, I got this. But he had to stay bedridden for like 2-3 days.
Exactly. He was out of commission for a while. But you know what the thing is? The only person I've ever seen play like that, or I can relate that type of drive and competitive nature to was Michael Jordan. Like, ironically, a lot of people may say, like, yo, you making that connection, but it's like, yo, dad was telling people what he was going to do.
And then he did it.
Was doing it.
That dog would say, I'm going to go right, and I'm going to go off the backboard, and he did it.
He said, yo, you want to see the hook shot? I said, yo, that's an old school move. He was doing it in the park, and he did that.
Yeah.
But, also at the same time, we've learned lessons where it was like I got to a point where I wanted to play basketball until you couldn't beat me anymore. And it's like,
yeah, I was more defensive. You were more offensive because the shots were not going for you, boy.
And that's all it really boils down to, just understanding that balance. And even in quick reference to the Bible, like there's a balance of people who experience a relationship with God. And what that relationship leads them to do is so much more of themselves. So like even coming from school and then going into the church and then basketball, like it's almost like everything's still connected because I played basketball in the church before I played in the school. And now I coach. So it's like with me coaching, it's the full circle kind of thing. And then like in school, I dealt with like counselors a lot. Like therapy is like a new thing and things of that sort. I also when we were younger, like I went to therapy just to understand like the things that were going on around me.
There was a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot going on. But I also feel like I found those resources in so many spaces. Mm-hmm. Like therapy didn't only come through a therapy session. The therapy session probably taught me how to process emotions, but I could also process the emotions at school when I'm frustrated with certain learning challenges or obstacles. I can also put that into sports. I can also put that into my interactions when managing emotions with the people who I love. Mm-hmm. And I think it taught me so much simply to understand that, yo, speaking about your feelings the same way, learning about how you learn the same way, you got these little Lego and building blocks as a young youth, you're still going to use those same tools to be the great man that you're that you are today and that you shall be tomorrow. So it's always an ongoing process. I think the biggest thing that I've been able to take on is just hearing from one of my aunts. Well, it was a prominent woman in the church, and the church also becomes family, and you understand that family, when the blood is there, you feel me? But when you feel as though there's no blood relatives around, that doesn't mean that you're ever alone. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we're all brothers and sisters in Christ, and that's what the faith teaches you. But then it also it goes back and it helps you appreciate the ones that you can't, you feel me, pick and choose in your life. You can pick your friends, but it allows you to understand family. And then when you understand family, you understand yourself. But essentially, she told me when I was going away to college that she knows that I didn't want to go away. Who wants to leave home and go upstate? I wasn't going far, but I went to Oswego. It was pretty damn cold up there. And I think, well, she said, change and growth are one and the same. So you can't have one without the other. You can't want change and not feel like you don't have to grow to be in that situation, and you can't want to grow or want to be better but not change your circumstances around you. And even so, like, we played in the parks in Caton, and we've also been able to play in different parks. Like, we played at Parks in Tillery, like you, me, and Khalil when we played that one time.
I love that part. Later. That was a great full circle. I feel like the word full circle is like an important thing, but just like that growth where we see each other's specialties, where it's like, you're more of like the leader with the ball handling and the vision. Khalil was the sniper, and I was just playing defense because the shot never came to me, guys.
If 2K, the 2K badge that I had affiliated with now, like Intimidator, like I don't care what anybody says, they see you running on the court with the sleeve, they know what time it is. Like, you can get shaky on offense. And I knew some of the dudes we was playing against at Tillery too, and I ain't gonna hold you, we was a good three. He was a good three, a good big three.
And we won some games there too. I want to talk about dance because I put next to it mobility. So, basketball for you was discipline. Church was just like the support. Mom is like, even more discipline. But like dance, because when I was seeing you dance, it's like this when you had the cornrows, man. You were just going like your Marion thing.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That was definitely a phase. I remember I used to do a lot of stuff in the rain. Typically, because
you got watching You Got Served.
You got people who dance in the rain, so it's a part of. You cannot be a dancer and have never tried to dance in the rain. You feel me? Even if the rain outside, you're like, yo, let me bust a quick move, see how I feel, take my hat off, close the umbrella. But I mean, I've danced in the rain. I played basketball in the rain.
Big wildin', but I get it.
Big wildin'. My mom came to the park and was like, Mike. She was wildin'. Like the whole neighborhood heard my name that day. But with dance is like something that I don't want to say it popped out of nowhere, but when we were younger, I used to love to dance, but I couldn't dance. Like I never forget, we went to a birthday party.
But you had the energy.
I had the energy, and I appreciate you for that, because that's really all it is. Like at the end of the day, somebody be like, "Oh no, you weren't that bad," but nah, that's all I had, the energy, and I had no idea where to place that energy until like I went away to Jamaica and. I learned that.
This is when he became the real Jamaican, and I'm still the Yankee, ladies and gentlemen.
But I mean, I got sent to Jamaica, so it was like I kind of had no choice, and there weren't the facilities or the resources to play basketball, so a lot of dancing was just easy. You turn on the music, you dance wherever you at, you dance in the crib, you dance in the shower. You could do what probably dancing in the shower is not as safe.
Please don't die.
But I mean, you learn how to move, and then you also understand the impact and what music does to you. If it can make you move, it can alter your emotion. Moving normally affiliates with happiness or somebody being engaged. You understand what I'm saying? So I remember dancing freshman year I started dancing in junior high school. So I went to Philip Schuyler first, and then I wanted to be like you so bad I transferred to Huddy.
I don't know why you did that. You would have been way smarter if you said Philip Schuyler.
And then in transferring, like I met like my best friends for life. So now it's like now I'm in that space, and aside from gym, you're gonna have to do a whole lot more things. They were dancing Philip Schuyler, but I was in dance in 6th grade. I think 8th grade, maybe 7th grade. I think it might have been 7th grade. I had a dance class, and I'm like, yo, son, this woman is teaching pas de deux reis and grand jetés, and it's like tendu, and those are all dancing words. where it's like for
Wait,
ballet.
this is in Huddy?
Yeah, in Huddy.
Was it the short lady with blonde hair
Miss
with the
Viola,
tights? Dog. Guys, real quick, super exclusive, dog. In that class is the reason why my nickname Skippy came into fruition,
You took
bro.
that class, bro?
I took that in 6th grade. So when I took that in 6th grade,
Wow.
dog, I had shout out to Marcus Ford and Cecilio Vega. Like those dudes, we were playing
Cecilio,
football.
my man.
We were playing football, and it's like, yo, Marcus, like, yo, because this is when we have the Delaney cards, and you could pick like a nickname. So it was like, Marcus, like, nobody in the class is gonna go by Skippy. And this is like, I'm still like kind of nerdy, I'm a little chubby with the glasses. And I'm trying to stand out. Like this lady, cute, she was, like nice little lady, like, nice little thing. So I was like, yo, I'll go do it. And she's like, all right, you call me Skippy. I thought it was a mono type relationship. Everyone in class was calling me, and then after like a week, everyone in schools called me. It's like, y'all was just big snitching. Like this was supposed to be between me and her.
That Skippy nickname traveled fast,
It
bro.
did. I was like, God damn.
And I saw the evolution. Remember you Skipper for a little bit?
I was Z Skipper, and that's for Pops. Pops gave me the Z Skipper for sure. That was one of my AIM names. Jeez, but then we got the Skip from BK.
Now we had Skip from BK, and that rolls off the tongue.
This
like
is the
you feel
brand,
me? Skip
but-
from BK. I mean, the
It works.
syllables.
You slowed it down to make the crazy effect. And
It
we're gonna
hold
talk
it
about
down.
your moniker too in a bit. We're gonna build up to that.
Oh, yeah, we
but
get
like just in that class, I feel like a lot of things has been shaped because she is phenomenal with just the history. I mean, she was bad, but she was also bad and talented. That was the reason why she was hired. So
Yeah, and then she got pregnant. So
I'm not surprised.
She yeah, great woman.
was nice.
She
She
should
was nice.
go on to bring more fruit in the world.
Yeah.
So when she's pregnant, she couldn't dance, and it was almost like she was like, "All right, well, do whatever y'all like to do for the class, but it has to be some sort of structure." And I just came back from Jamaica, so it was like I knew all these moves that were relevant in regards that people would refer to it as pasa pasa, but it's like it's not. Pasa pasa is so much more. Pasa pasa is a part of the culture. You understand what I'm saying? It's a culture that pre-exists all of that vulgarity. But
not just a daggering, but we have other moves outside of that.
you feel me? And it was during the time of like Ever Fresh, Ever Clean, Dr. Bird, those types of dances, Ding Dong. Oh, I did want to be a Ravers Clavers dancer. That was one of
That
my
makes sense.
dreams.
Okay.
And I was like, yo, they making bread in Jamaica just dancing?
This man really wanted to be the real bad man.
Yo, why wouldn't I? But I mean, I taught a class, and I guess word does travel fast because, there are a lot of female students in that class. So like when I taught the class and we started doing like these moves and it became like a fun kind of class, word kind of traveled. And we had people coming from their gym class to our dance class. And I was like, nah, this is kind of cool. And then I performed at a talent show in junior high school, and then we went on to Midwood. Everybody from Huddy went to Midwood. Went to Midwood, and then Midwood, I danced that 1 year. And I guess this is kind of where like, it's a part of the story that I've been able to reflect on so much more because now on stage I dance so much. It's so much a part of just who I am.
It's amazing to see the growth, but also it's super fluid. Like you look so confident when
It
you
gotta
do that,
be
bro.
natural. It's a part of expression. It's a part of communication. But coming back to like freshman year. So freshman year I danced for this program called BHA, Black Heritage Alliance, and it's like they taught us just how to be proud of being black and who we are. There was hip hop, boys and girls hip hop. There was a group. There was boys and girls reggae. There was old school hip hop, and we kind of combined the whole old school reggae and whatnot. But I danced with my man's. I'll save his name for last because save the best for last at this point. I danced with a dude named Timmy. I danced with my bro Dean. My man's Ja Breezy, you feel me? And then Coyote, rest in peace. That was just a gentleman. He was African at the time, so well, I mean he's African.
I was about to say, he transformed into a super
he's
being?
always gonna be African, but he was African, and it's like he was the choreographer for our group. So I kind of felt like how I'm learning African dances from I'm learning reggae dances or dancehall dances from an African, and I can't hold you. The man was nice. He knew exactly what he was doing. He was into it, and it was like, yo, you can't judge a book by its cover. Simple lesson, easiest way for me to encapsulate that. But my experiences with him was like, while we weren't as close as we were in regards to older and younger brother, during those times, there were a lot of people that still took me under the wing. And I'm forever grateful for that because, like, yo, you could be a lost youth in the city, and being a lost youth in the city is not really the best thing ever without guidance.
This city's crazy.
And he was a lot of people's little bro, but then it was like I was his little bro. And I don't want to say he never really wanted, but it was like, yo, I'm a freshman in a dance group, so now he got to teach me. It's automatically expected that, yo, I may take longer to learn dances. But when we did perform, that was my first performance for BHA and the final performance of BHA as well, because the program lost funding. Shout outs to Ms. Volsi. She did her thing over there. But I also made that connection and that brother of having Coyote, and it's like, yo, that man was always free, always vibrant, always took over the stage. Even later on, as I hosted, I still saw him in the same circles doing the same thing, and he did so much. He went away and ran track because he needed the scholarship, but previously he was playing basketball, and nobody jumped higher than this man, so he had every jump ball that he went for, and it was pretty dope just seeing somebody just be great at everything. Similar to Brandon, like, yo.
Yeah, like our story is so interwoven in like the younger parts, but we have like a mutual friend. He's like our brother that's not our brother, but it was like a very interesting dynamic because that dude, if there was like Power Rangers, that dude was a Red Ranger.
Yo.
I'd be like the Blue Ranger. And in this case, I'll probably make you like the Black Ranger when it comes to like the hierarchy thing.
We in space time.
We're in space. We're not doing the first one. We're doing space.
Cool.
So it was just different. And being next to someone that's that exceptional at things, be like, dog, how? You know?
But then you also understand that like that's like the process of alchemy. Like learning is a part of a process, but execution is also a part of the learning process. A lot of people say, I know how to do something, but I could tell somebody else how to do it. You don't fully know. You know what I'm saying? Because the experience brings so much. And I think dance was the first thing that allowed me to transform something that was practice into a performance and a show. And it showed me how to prepare. And yo, son, I didn't see some sides of Coyote where I was like, yo, bro, this show is going on, but don't get it twisted. Like, you gotta be talking to people like that. But it was necessary, you feel me? Because he wanted us to be on the same type of level of excellence. And none of us messed up. And I ain't gonna hold you. That's the time we was flexing in Brooklyn. So that's when reggae was like all the shoulder isolations, the moonwalking and the gliding and all that stuff. And that stuff I had to learn because all I knew was about fresh, about clean. And then it's like, yo, there's a whole lot more of a skill that you need to learn. And then that kind of allowed me to, you said mobility was the word you affiliated with dance.
Like just the smoothness.
It allowed me to understand my body. Like, yo, bro, and here's how we say this. We babyface gods, but we also late bloomers. Dad told us this when we was mad young.
Son.
So when there was the time where I only heard about Skip, or I used to be like, yeah, I got a brother that go to Brooklyn Tech. Oh, what's his name? And then I could say, Howard Nedrick or Howard Jr. And they'd be like, oh, my bad. Do your viewers know your name? Does it matter now? Oh, well.
This is natural. I'm the host. They're going to know me. I just know we're not saying your name because for security purposes, I don't say anybody's full name here, but I'm the host, Skip from BK, a.k.a. Howard Nedrick. There's only like 3, so I mean, obviously my name is, you're going to find me, so I'm not hiding. But yeah, it's all good.
Copy. But I used to be like, yo, y'all know XYZ? And they'd be like, you mean Skip? And then you developed your own person. I remember you freshman you in Brooklyn Tech, frustrated about drawing circles in that drawing class. You feel me? But at the same time, like that's not going to determine your trajectory because I'm like, yo, my brother, these circles is not, you feel me? I used to see you get down on yourself about that stuff. And then you realize, yo, well, how you start is never how you're going to finish.
Yeah.
But if you start, you got to keep going. I left Philip Scholar, so I never know what like a Philip Scholar graduate would look in my terms, but Huddy into Midwood was good enough. And when I remember also seeing like senior year Skip, as Facebook, we were able to connect and whatnot. Yeah. And I'm like, yo, this dude on the beach without a shirt, and he got abs. I didn't hit my growth spurt yet.
Yeah,
so now I'm like, oh, there's really hope. Like,
oh yeah,
Dad wasn't lying.
Because we were both chunky kids, boy. Like it was not like we weren't overweight. It's just like we had. If you had like that chicken wing, you have like regular chicken wings like on the drum. It's like this one drum. It's like, oh, this has some extra meat on the drum.
That's heavy.
So that's like before we grew. Because I know in freshman year, I think in high school I was like 5'2", 5'3", and then I just shot up to, because we're both the same height right now. It was like we're like 6'1", 6'2". I'm gonna say 6'2", but and it's like, but that growth spurt happens like that. So when it happens, it's like damn. But when it happens, it's like damn.
Yeah, big fact. And I think when years happened, like after junior year, sophomore.
I think it was like, because I was like incrementally growing, and I feel like when I got into junior year, it just started to hit like I'm at like 5'8", right?
Yeah.
5'8", 5'9", and then it was like senior year. I'm like when I ended senior year, I was like at 6, and I was still growing in the freshman sophomore year of college. Yep. So we still had like that. I was like, can we get to 6'3", 6'4"? Can we get that? I was like, nah.
You getting taller, and you be like, man, I hope so. If I get another 2, I'll be good. Like,
yeah.
But I mean, like, I don't know if Khalil had the same experiences, but that young man just shot up.
All right, yo, I know he talk about him. He's not here. The thing that was unfair about watching him was that at 13, 14, he was 6 foot, right?
Son.
So he's our younger brother, and he's a little bit taller than us. So it's kind of like the added effect that this guy exists, and he was just getting girls at 13, 14, which kind of was a downside for him. He got way too much attention. He got to his head. He's cute, but he's not that cute guy. But I think us getting like that height much later into our like high school career actually adjusted our personality to a point of like it was, because when we got it, we appreciated him saying 6 foot. We appreciated that a lot. Some of these people be getting it early, be like, this is nothing. It was time we didn't even know we were gonna get there.
Yo, if you ever ask like how tall, and I'm pretty sure this happens to you, if you ever ask me how tall I am, I'll be like 6'6". Yeah, I'm 6'1", 6'2". Like what you really get to say 6 is like, well, I'm at that place, but you never even remember, because you remember the days, you feel me, when dudes was really 6 feet towering over you. You're like, dag. But when that growth spurt hit, I was able to play basketball finally. Like, aside from being taken off sophomore year, you feel me, due to the 83 average, I didn't play no JV because of that. And then you're not just gonna walk on junior year.
You have to bust ass to earn it.
You feel me? I ain't hit the growth spurt yet, but then I also realized that basketball, like it's like dancing to basketball, and then it comes back into dancing in college and stuff like that. But like senior year, like I'm also like a New York City championship champion for PSAL. Like my team won a championship. Granted, I wasn't the star player. You feel me?
But you contributed.
Yeah, I contributed in practice a lot.
hey, honesty is key. It's all good, bro. You did what you had to do.
I got the gear. You feel me? I got a trophy, and also at the same, I got a medal too. But it's like I understood what the work was. Like, I was still in practice, like feeling like I'm about to throw up. Still in practice, feeling like I'm about to pass out. And I understood what hard work felt like. So when you could feel that, it's like you're not even worried about the outcome. And then now, in what both of us do, when we get on the stage, the nerves are there, but the nerves are natural. The nerves got to be there.
If we don't have it,
that's bad.
Nah, it's
real bad.
Thing.
But when you go into a basketball game,
it's all game.
Yo, but exactly.
It's all game.
But if you're not nervous before a basketball game, like teams that be joking around locker room before basketball, they be getting punched, bro, because they not taking it serious. And now I understand like why dad and both our moms like just they're being Jamaican. They're just like, yo, it gotta get done. Our family is like our families from where they come from, they letting us know like
fact.
It has to get done. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And sometimes they may seem like a unwavering force. That's like, yo, you got to do this, but they represent that accountability that we have for ourselves later down the line.
And I think just you touching on all those things, because we're going to go into just them understanding like it come up when it comes to junior high school and kind of like high school and eventually in college, where you kind of went through an even more like quick, I don't want to say like training arc, because it's like, because I'm a little nerdy, I'll be having like the anime and stuff, but like your training arc, just seeing it from a distance, we're back in communication and just seeing that, and you going through some trials and tribulations in college, it's like, you know, you went from like Michael growing up, and we had a little joke on Miguel, and then it was Mikey, and then I see like Michael Wade is coming up in college. This is when your distinct personality is really starting to form, and it's still forming, because we're always still forming our brand, but how you move. When I even went to see you for graduation and see you operate and hosting, it was just like such a marvel just to see as like your older brother, where it's like I'm seeing like you're a big shot in the campus. You see that, and I'm like so proud. It's like, because we came up hard, and I feel like just to bring that full circle. Let's talk about college, bro. We talked about how he and Philip Escala for that quick second that it was. He talked about Midwood and senior year. Dog, talk about college. Talk about what you were going through because your boy still has hoop dreams. That's what you were doing. Still have hoop dreams. What are you doing right now?
I had hoop dreams in college, and I mean, I definitely appreciate you for coming up there and showing me love because the hoop dreams, a part of that is just like, yo, if you didn't go D1 out of school, it's like nobody really cares. And I went D3, and I didn't play. I spoke to the coach before I got there, and then I saw that the coach had left to go get a better job at a D2, and then there was a new coach who came in with his new recruits. And then I realized, yo, this is a business, number one. It's not the league, you feel me? But there's still a business because the D1 budget is very different from the D3 budget. And then you sit down and realize, like, not everybody knows who you are, and not everybody knows your name. And if the person who knows your name leaves, then you're going to have to create a new name for yourself. And people are always in and out, you feel me? So you have to constantly recreate yourself in every position that you are. And nobody cared that I was a champion the season before. I'm no longer in high school. And I wasn't the dude on my team that scored 68. Shout out to Brian for me. He did what he had to do. But it's like I was Michael. And sometimes I didn't even answer when people called me Michael because I was on such a big campus. I'm like, nobody knows me here. Not even saying people I didn't answer. It's just I always had my headphones in. I never dressed for class. I was always in sweats, and I was always in the gym in between classes. So I got so much better, in like athletically
because you had the facilities, you had the access.
Bruh, I dunked for the first time in high school on a layup line, never in a game, and then when I got to college, like. I remember we were playing dormitory against dormitory, so this is before intramurals. Okay. And I called a fast break dunk, and then after I went back, I'm like, yo, I thought I just dunked. But it's like nobody in there knew who I was. It wasn't nothing really too flashy, and people in there weren't even probably worried about basketball. I probably dunked somebody who don't play basketball, you feel me? So I realized you got to start moving and shaking with the people who are of where you want to be. Mm-hmm. My major was mass communication and broadcasting. I started in the communications ministry back in church at Lennox, operating a camera. So now I'm in a classroom setting, and a lot of people in my class don't look like me. And when I talked about wanting to do entertainment media, they were like, well, you're going to start over news, and in entertainment media, you got to wait till somebody calls you up, and then you have to have a niche for that, and blase, blase. But when I started to show my professors that, yo, listen, when it comes to miking and miking up talent and framing the camera for the shot, I know that already.
So you did that at the church.
Exactly. So now when I'm in class, I'm doing that. But then everybody else got to learn too. There's some people who come from all types of places. I'm in Oswego now, so there's people from Ithaca. There's people from Phoenix in New York. Phoenix, New York. There are people from Fulton. There are people that are just coming from all over Buffalo, and I'm like Rochester. I'm like, well, these are only places that I've only heard of, but I've never.
Because the funny thing is, on the Eastern Parkway, which is like the most trippiest thing ever, like all those streets are named after like cities upstate. It's crazy.
Yeah, facts. Schenectady, Cortland. Geez, there's so many. But then when you sit down and think about it, those people, they don't have the access, or they don't see what we see in New York City. So when it boiled down to it, like, equipment didn't faze me, but some people were afraid to hold a camera. Some people were afraid to speak on a microphone. And granted, we're all freshmen at this point in time, sophomore. You know, we're moving through the 4 years of, you know, the curriculum. And I'm breezing through the curriculum to the point where professors like, all right, Michael, you're talent. They're gonna mic you up. They're gonna frame you up, and then you're just gonna give us quick sound bites so we can practice editing and see how it sounds in the control room.
Now, just because of the work that you've done growing up in the church and like those opportunities, now you're getting into the seat of being talented because you're already good. So you're already done this, so you don't need to do it anymore. Now you're the person that's doing the sound bites. So this is like the framing for Michael Wade's kind of like emergence.
Yeah, big fact. That's a great word, because that's talent in a classroom. So now we back into a classroom setting. Like, you feel me? The way we grew up, life was our classroom.
Yeah, we imagined a whiteboard, and we're literally near a whiteboard right now.
And of course, there's always a whiteboard around. You feel me? Yeah. You gotta put the ideas down. But then we also have to realize how to apply all that stuff that we've learned outside of the classroom into the classroom, because now people are going to start taking notes and say, well, how'd you learn that? Or why do you speak so fluently? Or why are you so comfortable with speaking? What you mean? Like, I'm from New York City. How you not going to speak to somebody? But not everybody's from New York City. And then you understand the privileges that you've had before.
Exactly.
You understand the purpose of everything that has happened, and it happens for a reason. But I did experience loneliness while I was in Oswego for probably the first time. And that's kind of when I developed, like, you know, friendships that of course lasted forever. Like, I went to school with Tiffany and Billy, which are my best friends, from college, and I knew Tiffany since junior high school as well. So being away from a lot of other friends, like I was away from my best friend Frances, who went to your school, Baruch. She went to Baruch.
Yes. And
so she stayed in the city, and then we were also reconnecting during those times, because I'm learning how to communicate with people from long distance. I'm learning how to have long distance relationships. And I realized, like, life is life. Everything applies. So communication, relationships, classroom, church, athletics, all those stuff somehow weave to create this great fabric of what we call our story. Michael Wade came from the lower thirds. Like, you need the lower third graphic that says your name. What do you put in? And I'm like, yo, I don't really know if I want to put my last name out right now, because something that I was really afraid of was, like, growing up, I was told I should be a lawyer because I'm great at speaking. I'm like, I'm not putting nobody in jail for them to see my face, go to jail, and come out and know who put them there. You understand what I'm saying? So, like, media also had that type. It gave me that fear, but it wasn't as strong, simply because media has a side of integrity. When you're in the courtroom, you're supposed to do something. Lawyer, you're going against somebody. In media, you're revealing the truth, and you're speaking for those who cannot speak for themselves.
True.
So I definitely wanted to get everything down packed in regard to ethics and morality. And then also at the same time, like, I don't want to say I didn't want to box myself in, but if I did get to the heights of Terrence J, who I was aspiring to be, better phrase, appreciate you. I knew Terrence J wasn't walking around like, hey, I'm Terrence Jenkins, like, this is who I am. You understand? When he got to the point, and people were doing that research, but if you can Google your name, you understand what I'm saying? It'd be dope to Google a lot of things, but when I have kids and when I have family, like, I can't make that decision to be this person. And suppose my kids are introverted, which I kind of learned recently that I'm some sort of introverted. Like, when my battery runs out, I'm going home. You feel me?
I feel you. I feel like for us in our slightly different, I feel like it's more applicable for me as an ambivert, because depending on the environment, because if I'm with you, if we're in like an event, it's like Michael Wade and like Skip from BK, there's a reason why we're there. Like, when we're at the last Culture Con, it was like, I know why I'm here. I'm trying to meet people. But if I'm like, you know, Howard, and if I'm not around my friends, or if I'm not like around my siblings and stuff like that, I'm probably gonna do like what I call a quick 6 or quick 60, and I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be here for 60 minutes and I'm dipping.
I'm out of here.
Yeah, so I feel like it depends, because I feel like ambivert works better, because if you're truly super introverted, you're probably not going outside hardly. You don't want to be outside. For us, we probably started off as introverts, but we had to kind of like transform into ambiverts, be able to be extroverted, but I'm not trying to talk all the time, you know? Yeah. So I got you on that.
And then when that time comes, then you realize, yo, I'm a human being. So I can't control the actions of other people. So if other people are going to sit down and be like, oh, no, you're somebody, like, this is when your dreams start to scare you. Like, I never dreamed of being a lawyer. I said, no, I don't want to be a lawyer. But I always wanted to be a personality. I always wanted to be in media. And it's like, not all the things that come with media are good. Like, it was hounding people down with paparazzi. Like, Kanye was in problems with me. You feel me? No pictures. Like, Kanye was walking into signs because he was trying to dodge the media. You remember? Like,
yeah, he definitely dodged into like a stop sign, one of those things. And that's crazy for him to actually have to say that out loud. Like, yo, bro, like, this attention almost had me like lose my head.
And if people not gonna understand that, because that was also a time where people weren't as sensitive to celebrities. And I also knew that walking around campus, if I'm trying to get to class, don't speak to me. I'm learning myself. So now I'm learning myself, but I'm dreaming. And then what my dreams are showing me is like, well, I don't know if I can be the person I see in my dreams. And then that's when it's like, growth and change. You feel me? They gotta go. You can't have one without the other. So Michael Wade.
But before you became just Michael Wade, I feel like there was version to the Michael Wade moniker, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know there was Michael Wade 24K,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's it's Michael Wade. Then there's like, who is Michael Wade?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like your platform right now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the importance of like those adjustments, because each adjustment when you're doing like tours and other engagements, and we're going to talk about your first show you ever hosted and how you even got into that. But like, the monikers is your identity. Like literally, when we're talking back to like me being Skippy to Skip to Skipper to now being Skip from BK, there's a certain energy it comes with when you have the right name. And I feel like you already had the right name, but now it's like, what is the energy going into it? Because I love 24K, I love what it represented, but was it? Because remember when you told me why you had that, like, was that something, a healthy thing for you to reach for? And now I think with the newer moniker, it's more pure of, it makes your journey that you don't have to hit that original reason why you have 24K.
Mm-hmm. So essentially, 24K was a goal. Mm-hmm. So 24K was like 24,000 followers. That's how much people I wanted to be, knowing who I am. And with that following, I'd be good. I'd be accomplished. And that was just a goal that just didn't make sense to have quantified. Like, your goal is supposed to make you happy. So when you provide a quantity to your goal, it's like you get to there and then you're happy. What is there? Another quantity? And then it kind of developed a whole lot more for me, because there are always different sides to reasons as to why I would do anything. And Michael Wade hits because it's 3 syllables, it's six sticks, Michael Wade, sticks. The 24K is also another 24K. And when combined, when separated, it just rolls off the tongue. So then when combined, it's just like, I'm just saying a little bit more. So it's like, hey, Michael Wade. And then it's like Michael Wade 24K. But then when it comes into who is Michael Wade, those are all different aspects of who I am. Mm-hmm. I am Michael Wade. When your parents are calling you, it's like they're calling you first and middle. My mom, if she needs Michael Wade, if she needs something. So I always knew that when I was on stage, or if I became somebody and people were calling me by that, then it would kind of bring me back home and have me turn with an optimistic response. Like, what's up? What you need? Like, it's comfortable. I invite you into being a part of
your space, because that's a very personal exchange between parent and like child. When it's like that's kind of like your real nickname. Like, like when it's like Michael Wade, or we joked with Miguel or like Mikey, but I don't really like Mikey. Miguel was just a cool thing that we still do at times, because he took Spanish and I took French, so it was kind of like, Miguel.
Big fact.
But Michael Wade it just slaps different, as they would say in the streets. It slaps different.
Yeah, it does go hard, and it's like when other people say it, even to this day, it almost like, if I'm having a bad day and somebody says, "Yo, Michael Wade," it's like, all right, you know me, and it's good to be known. It's good for people to see you and know your name. And then as Michael Wade just stuck, like, I learned in class about the syllables thing, you feel me? So that was intentional. But then when I realized that how much it stuck, it started to mean more of intention for me. And then the question was, who is Michael Wade? If somebody really didn't know me, if somebody speak about, oh, Michael Wade, somebody who don't know you, and be like, who is Michael Wade? That was always my challenge, always my question. Every time I went on stage, it's like, who is Michael Wade today? What am I going to do and be for this event? What am I going to do and be for these people? And how am I going to change what I was and grow into who I need to become? So that challenge was always in 24 carats. 24 carats, the purest form of gold.
So I liked it. But I feel like it's just good to understand why you chose it, because I liked it. I didn't like the whole 24,000 because.
Yeah, that.
I mean, realistically speaking,
that was superficial, very superficial.
Yeah, I think that part of it'll feel like disingenuous, because I think nowadays I feel like you don't have a solid follow until you hit like 50, And for you, and like recently with Will Smith talking about like in his interviews of like, you can't outgrow trauma. Like and living in big cities or living in, these Eastern, Western, wherever it is in the world, there's a lot of things we deal with when it comes to people, when it comes to interactions and stuff. And the chasing the number, I just love the gold reference. And I feel like if there's still like an alternate name, like outside of like who is Michael Wade, like I love the purity of 24 karat because it just shows the purity of who you are as a person. And you are able to take the good and the bad. And, we've done good things, we've done bad things, but how you bounce back from it. And I think that's what's important when it comes to your story. But I really want to talk about the first event you ever hosted. Do you remember the name of that first event? Do you remember? I think it was definitely in college, right?
Yeah, it was definitely in college. I think it was a dinner, to be honest.
I know it was an intimate thing because I remember when you was just saying like, "Can I host it?" It was like I never really thought of it.
It's like who hosts a dinner?
Yeah.
But when you're at college, you understand that you develop a family there. So like dinners become productions. You have performers. You have people who need to just MC and be a master of the ceremony because that's what it is being a host. And I learned that craft in 2011. So
you're 9 years into it.
Yeah, like. It's like, I was first asked to host in 2011, and ever since then, I've been asking myself, who is Michael Wade to host? Well, what I gotta be to host this? What I gotta be to host a dinner, which turned into another dinner, which turned into fashion shows, which turned into concerts, and pageants and stuff like that, and weddings. You feel me? Like these are all different requirements, but as a host and MC, it's almost like a belittling title. It's like people host at restaurants. You feel me? And I'm not saying that's lower than being a host of an event. Nah, you can make chicken doing whatever as a host. But when other people see a host, what do they think? When other people see a host, do they just want you to bring people to their party? Or do they, you feel me, want you to really be on the microphone and provide a presence? And sometimes it's both, because if you bring the people and they know who you are, you're going to already be that presence and that vibe. So you can't necessarily take it too personal, but you generally have to sit down and be like, yo, who the hell am I? And what you get is your gold. Michael Wade 24K, yo, I'm gold. Like, I'm gold mainly because I'm always going to have value, but my value is determined on how I shape myself based on the current situation. Do I want to be a chain today? Or do I want to be a bracelet? Or do I want to be a ring? Or do I want to be a pin? Or do I want to be the metal that's soldered to hold wires together? You know what I'm saying? It almost expands what your potential is, because it's like, yeah, I could do whatever once I'm humble and once I stay on track. Also, it really, helps that, black and gold of Alpha, and I became Alpha in college and whatnot. So
that
definitely
subtle plug to the family for him.
It provided a great platform. So you feel me? I can never really just sidestep it.
Hey, we can't. That's still a part of it. And you said a lot from the progression from the dinners to the fashion shows to the pageants to the weddings, right? But when that first dinner happened, because you know what's interesting? You've been hosting events way longer than I have. We just have a different entry point into how we did it. But I feel like with you, especially on the college campus, because I didn't start hosting until after I graduated. I think I started hosting when I was like 25. And that's just because of so that's 2015, you 2011. So I was like, I'm always out. People know my name, blah, blah, blah. Like, yo, you bring people together. For you, how did you feel after that first event? Because I feel like for you, I think that's when it's kind of like that integral process, like, oh, I can do this. I feel like that happens usually in that first one or the first couple where it's like, oh, I'm nice. Like,
yeah. You're nice when I'm about to say you nice. Like, I know what it means to be nice. But I think something that everybody nice at or good at something feels is like a weird feeling. You feel me? Like, that time when you get to yourself and you're like, wow, I just did that. Or that time when it's like, it slows down after everybody says, that was a great job, so on and so forth. Or you're like, wow, you're really funny, and so on and so forth. And they ask you questions like, well, how often do you do this? Well, it's the first time. Like, there's a lot of questions now.
That's crazy.
You feel me? And I feel like everybody, like, every time you speak to anybody, you grow. When you host an event, you're speaking to hundreds of people. You feel me? Give or take 50. So if you're speaking to 50, 250, 500, 1,000. It's a different settling moment for you once you're back in your own private space.
And you're just processing it.
Yeah, and that processing, I don't want to say it takes a while to hit, but when you start to when you start to actually experience the effects of what you've done, is when you like, oh nah. Like when you go home and you be like, damn, I hosted an event, it's kind of cool. Sometimes you get instant gratification because you post a picture and people like it, and even if they weren't there, you kind of just feel good about yourself. Also, people like stuff very, very fast, so they'll like any damn thing nowadays. Mm-hmm. So you can't really gauge that as a sure sign of success, which is why the 24,000 followers went out the window, because I had nowhere near what I have now in regards to followers, and I was still having people like, yo, you're doing a good job. And when we were saying, I'm doing a good job, I was like, all right, maybe I should do this again. So what else I'm going to host? Like, how you know what else you're going to host when the first time you just hosted? And after that dinner, I really had to sit down and ask what went wrong. And when I couldn't find things that went wrong, then it was like, all right, now I can rest. But I'm asking people about what went wrong, and then you're learning, because certain things you might have thought had gone wrong were the key parts of your show and performance. You may have been like, yo, that person in the back was mouthing off the whole show. Like, they distracted me. I had to talk to them and so on and so forth. But if in your back and forth with the person who's trying to obstruct your entertainment value, you get a couple laughs out the crowd, that person helped you out.
They did. It was an assist.
You feel me? And in comedy, man, y'all specialize in that the best.
Got no choice but to do the crowd work. Uh-huh. But I just think just understanding that part of the story is very interesting. How it feels like not only am I interviewing you, but we're just putting bits of me into it too. Like the first time I did comedy, and it's just like, yo, like me doing it, like watching it and just understanding that, yo, I really love making people laugh. And then you just doing it. And when I did it for the first time, I was watching hours and hours and hours. It was a comedy special where people was like, so how long you been doing it? It's like, yo, this is legit my first time, you know? Mm-hmm. And then actually after the first time, doing it the second time at the same spot the week after, and then I went from having everyone laughing to like nobody laughing, and then understanding that difference and why I needed that difference of, I'm like the funniest person in the world. It's like you drop 50 and then the next game you drop like 12 points after missing 18 shots.
But the greatest people gotta lose.
And that's important. And I feel like those are the kind of like memories that we use as a barometer. So, transition. You have hosted or partnered with a wide variety of brands or like entities. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to list some, right? And I just want you to kind of go off your feeling of like just working on some of those brands, and like not even feeling like good or bad, but like what did you learn? Because I feel like these brands, like these 5 brands, have pretty much assisted in helping Michael Wade get into being Michael Wade. So,
big fact.
Ozfest.
Oh, man. Wow, that's a heavy brand. That's a heavy brand mainly because I created my brand of Michael Wade in Oswego, and I wanted the brand to be embodied in like just the memory or affiliated with the gold brick. Oswego was my school. It is my alma mater. And Ozfest was something that was produced on my way out. So we never really we had big concerts, but like our concerts were never really entitled. And when I mean entitled, like they were never given a name. It was just spring concert, concert whenever, you feel me, SA presents. But when Ozfest hit, I was like, oh man, like I want to be a part of this. And you know what? I think I did Ozfest. I did a story on Ozfest actually for the first Ozfest. And I hosted the second Ozfest. So for like the first Ozfest, I did a story, and I packaged it, new story. And I wanted to do entertainment media, so I searched hard for my topics. And that was when I honestly think Big Sean came that year. And when he performed, I'm not even gonna hold you, like that's when he came out with Dark Skies Paradise. Great album. Bro, One Man Can Change the World really brought me to tears. Like
very strong
walking,
because it was about his
campus,
his grandma, his relationship with his grandma.
Yeah, and the thing about that was, I had been so used to just being angry and taking everything as from a competitive angle.
Yeah.
And that was a time where it was like, yo, you can really release, you can feel, you can cry, because it stirs up emotions within you. And if you haven't addressed those emotions, yo, bro, you're gonna cry. Like, I don't care what nobody say. If any emotion is stirred up within you that you haven't addressed, you're gonna cry.
Facts.
So when I realized, like, I'm thinking about all the people that have put into me and poured into me, and that was also my senior year, bro. That's when you came up and visit me. And I'm not gonna hold you, like, a lot of people did not come up and visit me from like the town. You came up, you visited me, and you stayed with me. And I had a crib, like, I was living off campus, but like, we were able to be in a space.
Playing Young Thug.
Yeah,
Barter 6 came out.
Oh yeah, facts. That was a great time in music.
Yeah.
And with Ozfest, I would have loved to have been able to invite you to watch me host, but it was out of my hands. It was like, yeah, I'm a host on the campus, but it's like nobody respected me to that point. So I was a part of like contributing to that brand. Mm-hmm. So now, fast forward 1 year when I get the call like, yo, we might want you to host Ozfest. I'm like,
boom,
host Ozfest. The thing about that is I wanted to host Ozfest after BET. So the BET thing kind of hit, and then like Ozfest came around. I'm like, yo, don't y'all know who I am? And nobody knew who the hell Michael Wade was.
So it always goes back to that initial question of who is Michael Wade.
Mm-hmm. So now, like, when I got called back and they're like, yo, do you want to host Ozfest? Here's who's on the bill. They said DNCE is on the bill. I don't know if you know them, but it's cool. I didn't know them either. But A Boogie was on the bill. You feel me?
Okay, that's mad mess up. Yo, if you ever watched it, I'm gonna have to get into music, but yo, this is New York. A Boogie, we know that dude.
Exactly.
High Bridge.
You feel me? The label. But here's also the thing. Ozfest was in the stadium in the main campus center, the biggest arena. It's in the arena. Like they did it up big. That was my biggest audience at that time. And like I was the host in between. I was playing every song that wasn't A Boogie and vibing with the crowd. And I literally would be saying like, yeah, y'all know this one? Is there anybody from New York City? I'm repping for BK, but is there anybody who's from JA? And that type of stuff. And then my DJ is just dropping tracks. DJ Tumble, that's the dude who taught me how to DJ. So before I was hosting, I was actually DJing.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
To make the bread freshman year. So I went by the name DJ Milo.
That's when you had the Milo
24K. So 24K is almost like before Michael Wade. Mm-hmm. So it's always been like a superficial goal. But now when it became Michael Wade, it's like, who's Michael Wade? Are you 24K? No, I'm not 24 followers, but I am gold. So it all just pieced together and came together organically. But now when I'm hosting at my alma mater in a place where it's like, I graduated in the same building that, like, in the same arena that I'm not hosting on. So that was like my graduation. Like, that was Michael Wade's graduation. You feel me? It was like a homecoming situation. Like, yeah, I'm back. Dope. And it was a vibe. But working with A Boogie, yo, bro, look who A Boogie is now. Like, you feel me? And I've had the opportunity to host for A Boogie twice. Before A Boogie actually blew up, when my shit was just like taking off, he did a show at UA Albany, and I hosted that show, and it was called 1906 in Park. You know, frat, shout out to frat. But bro, I don't want to say nobody knew who A Boogie was, but they ain't never really see him. You feel me? If you from the hood, you know what what dude from the town gonna look like. You feel me? And when I say the hood, I mean like New York City. You from the town, like no negative connotation. You feel me? Like great things come out the hood. But yo, when A Boogie touched that stage and people started losing their mind, and you could see who didn't know yet, who wasn't on the wave, but then coming back, and we talking about UA, which is predominantly. It's not a predominantly black campus.
It's
but
predominantly white.
The audience at that show was predominantly black. But now when you have SA funding it for my campus, Oswego, which is a PWI, the audience is now predominantly white. Rocking out to A Boogie. And I'm like, yo, I am a part of the culture, and this is the dream. But it's not how I dreamt it. I expected to be introducing music videos on BET. I did that once, you feel me? And then now I realize that I like the live way better than
the recorded. You still want to do recorded, but the live is different.
Recorded gotta get done. Like you gotta see something when you're home and watching TV. You gotta watch something. But and as you get better at that, it's just making yourself feel comfortable in the spaces so you can do better work. So I treat my recordings like lives.
When you come with that energy,
And that's why I love like podcasts. Of course, it's a talent and a realm that I haven't been able to fully like immerse myself into. But right now, man, like I just think it's so dope that we're able to capture interpersonal communication on this type of level. Like there are levels of communication. There's communication with self, the shit thinking. Then there's interpersonal communication,
talking to someone else through whatever medium.
And then there's also like mass communication, which is actually my major, mass communication and broadcasting, communicating with one sender to the masses. When somebody decides to step up out their seat and talk to you, now they become where you are, a public speaker, which is the second most feared thing after death. Well, it was. I think public speaking is now not as feared, but
people will still be
shit
scared.
type scary.
Yeah. So I mean, just like hearing your energy on Auspice, and you did touch on BT, so that's like a later question. Paradigm. I know you worked with Paradigm in the past. Shout out to those folks in Paradigm. Shout out to Duclass. We went to school together in junior high school and high school. Great group, and you got to host some things in the city. So I know for you had like a lot of college shows and touring and stuff like that. And I've always said, for you as a personality, like this is the city, man. Like we still got to host in Brooklyn and wherever else you can get the money, but in the city. How did that feel, man? Like
Paradigm definitely gave me my start in the city. Like after being away at school and developing like a name for myself with the undergraduates and the grad students, whoever was on the campus. Those people came back to the city, but some of them got jobs and went elsewhere. So when I was in the city, I had to start from scratch. I remember leaving a show upstate and then coming back to a Paradigm event. And nobody really knowing or caring who I was when I walked through, but the right people knew who I was and knew my name, and I got to the microphone. Now, when I got to the microphone, I was very, very young. I remember doing Paradigm events, and I used to scream on the microphone, and people were like, I can't hear you, and I'm screaming, and people just like, yo, it's too low. And what I didn't even realize was that I wasn't turning down the music when I should have been speaking. You feel me? I'm screaming over the music as opposed to turning the music down to speaking and turning it back up, which is something that you learn when you're working with DJs. But not but more so when you don't have a stage. So I'm used to walking around the stage and speaking before a song or after a song or in between songs. But during a party when the music doesn't stop, you have to figure out when to speak.
Timing.
And that's really the city. Like you have to figure out when you should speak. And I was humbled by Paradigm mainly because I thought I was who I was from the college shows and whatnot. Like I had people screaming my name after shows, like Michael Wade, and that was a very rare moment. That was when I hosted with for Joey Badass up in Syracuse. But it was surreal to me. But I kind of had my head kind of got swole because like you expect that same energy, and it's not really about being cocky. It's just you expect that same energy, but you feel like you did the work already, so you forget that you got to do more work. And I developed kind of a rapport with Paradigm. It was like, yo, the young youth that was just around and hosting, and he was always there when it mattered. As a host, you feel me? Like my voice became familiar, even more so than my face. The people who were internal and knew who was on the bill and a part of the team, they knew who I was. But I also say like Duke definitely held me down because he allowed me to expand the people who would know me down the line.
It's kind of like, going from high school to college and college to like adulthood. It's kind of like leagues, So if it was like high school is like PSAL, and then the league in college is like NCAA, and now it's like here's like the league when it's like, all right, cool, this is you are known here, but like this is the grander scale, and now people are starting to know you after your consistent work in a couple of years of you just being in front of the camera on stages or on like in clubs, bigger arenas.
And overlapping, like now that I'm I also like turned 21, like leaving college, so I wasn't really partying too much or in the clubs in New York City until I graduated. So then I began to understand like I saw what the bouncers do for extra money. You feel me? I saw how DJs really lock in gigs. I saw like what venues weren't allowing certain crowds into the buildings, and those are very real situations that sometimes can frustrate you. And it's like if you're hosting an event and then you find out that there was trouble locking in a venue because they're like, well, we don't want your people here and so on and so forth. You're like, well, damn, like racism really, like, forget my damn dreams. You feel me? Like, there is still an unfair bias when it comes to the crowd that comes with our culture. Mm-hmm. And we kind of had to change that because when I was with Paradigm, I had a very, very clean cut look. I really appreciated the fact that I was like held to a standard of, wear a blazer, and I was hosting some professional mixers and networking events. But what I also will say is what I've learned there is very, very valuable. But the humility or the journey to humility was just a tough one at that moment in time. Mainly because I'll be hosting and then we'll invite a guest and then it will say that the guest is hosting as well. And then I'll be on the mic, and the guest comes through and walks through, and then I know what a walkthrough is. Like what artists be speaking about. Now I know what a walkthrough is, but now it's like, oh, that's how that gets classified, and it's like now that's a new goal because it's like, what do I got to do for y'all to know who I am outside of just me being on the mic? Or suppose not a lot of people come to this party, and it's looked at me like, well, you ain't do what you had to do. And this is not necessarily in particular to Paradigm. This is like more so things that I experienced. Events, period. Yeah, events, period. And then it's like, I was talking on the mic for mad hours, but nobody was here. This doesn't matter. And I learned to maximize through Paradigm. Paradigm was like my Rubik's Cube when it comes to nightlife. Like, it challenged me. And I ain't gonna hold you. If anybody ever gives you a Rubik's Cube, it's like, growing up kids be like, what type of damn toy is this? But that person is more interested in what your brain has the capacity and the potential to do.
They're just trying to challenge you to see all possibilities, and I think that's what's very interesting when it comes to Rubik's Cubes or any of those type of thinking games when you have like Rubik's Cube or like the hexagons.
And those were the toys that Dad got us.
Bro, everything just comes back to like the lessons from our parents, but
it gives persistence though. Like, it allows you to stick with one thing a lot longer, and that's really all life is, just dedication.
Dedication to craft, dedication to your people, dedication to yourself, dedication to your loved ones. Mm-hmm. So I put these both together. So it was like, because they're kind of like they partner a lot. Mm-hmm. So BET and Revolt, I know you got to work with those for like, short amount of time. How was that experience?
They definitely showed me what the office space looked like when it comes to production. BET showed me. Well, I walked into BET's office. Well, I've been in Viacom offices ever since graduating because I wanted a job there, and just seeing the facilities and how they made people comfortable to work or made it fun to work. I was just like, wow, y'all the soda machine in y'all office? Like, this is, y'all got the snack cupboard, but I'm just leaving, the dining hall at college. So like now I'm walking into these buildings, and my BET feature or appearance came through a social media
campaign.
Yeah, campaign. So I recorded that in the studio in Oswego, and then it wound up on BET. I felt like I should have been like, look, Oswego, I got this thing on BET, and I was in your facilities. Y'all want to hold me down with a little something, like provide me with opportunities, resources, whatever may have you, support me, endorse me. But I wasn't thinking on that level. And then when I saw that a lot of people have definite jobs, talent don't got to worry about absolutely nothing in this industry aside from shining. And then I was like, what I got to do to become talent worthy again to be in the space where I was for BET. But BET at that point in time was no longer doing 10906 in Park. Well, not 106 in Park. They weren't doing music videos as much anymore. So what I wanted to be, my dream had almost evaporated.
Yeah, it's like they cut that.
It's like
so now it's like you have to reposition.
Exactly, and I'm like, what is it? What is it? What is it? And what I realized it was what I was being prepared for. Digital, like you're creating something off site and it's just getting syndicated or put through on a different spectrum. Revolt was the same thing. Well, not the same thing, but Revolt I got pulled right off the street, Times Square. Shout outs to Lawrence K. Jackson. Man, just said, yo, I heard about you. And I know you like this, so come and see what it looks like. I came in and I saw what it was like to shoot in a space. The cameras and all that stuff was behind the scenes, and I learned. I just watched everything and just understood where I can fit myself. And then I got invited back as a guest personality, met a few people. I met Cardi B at Revolt.
Cardi B picture.
Yeah, and that Cardi B picture is legendary because that's the most likes I've ever gotten on anything. Graduation, professional quality pictures. People just love Cardi B. She's a great person. But I had not known who she was prior to that.
Oh, so you walked in fresh. So she was like, you know who I am?
But it wasn't even on a you know who I am type of vibe either. Like I really, I wouldn't say I was drilling her, but we kind of had like a conversation before actual recording. Back in the time, well, during that time, Periscope was prevalent. So like, the people would put longer conversations on Periscope, and people could. It was almost like IG Live before IG Live.
Oh yeah, people just tap it in.
Yeah.
And that was in partnership with
feedback.
Twitter, and then for whatever reason, I think they dissolved it because they said it wasn't profitable.
But I mean, they had a great idea. They took a great angle. But then we also went Facebook Live for Revolt Live. And then Cardi B was on that episode, but I wasn't on camera for that. I was a part of the Periscope conversation. So now in me taking that picture, I was wearing a shirt from one of my sponsors from the shows, and then I understood, like, this is where I get to be able to put these things together. Now I'm in a space where I can piece all the stuff that I learned from college, all the stuff that I learned in the house growing up, all the things I learned from high school into just one. And it really just hovered over the umbrella. Well, it resided under the umbrella of my brand. What was my brand now going to be? I had to be intentional with my brand. I had to be direct. And I had to know what I wanted to say when people was like, who are you? Oh, I'm Michael Wade. But essentially, I kind of, it's like, nah, there's no time to not know what you do. And then I started to define that for myself. So, Revolt, yeah, they held me down. I wanted an opportunity. But there was no space for an opportunity at that time. There was no need for whatever I could have brought, and I don't even know if I knew what I could bring to the table at that point in time. So
you still manifesting, still kind of growing right now.
Definitely. So
this last one, you guys still working together. We're waiting for season 2, but Cash Roy, let's talk about that because that's like my favorite version of seeing you and like the kind of like recording in front of the camera realm.
So Casbar is my first real gig on camera.
I think you were working with shout out to Via Simone a little bit.
Oh yeah, definitely shout out to Simone. She was a part of the I-1 team at that time. Shout out to my guy SP1. Sebastian been recording with me since way back in the day. Also frat bro. Like my guy Kyle Goldberger. Like Kyle, he's now at Vivo, but he also like just gave me the space to be calm. Because it's nerve-wracking when somebody says, come in for a camera read and you don't know, like you can research what a camera read is, you can ask people in the industry, but if you've never done it before, it's literally you sit in front of a camera, you read lines as if it's going to be produced, and it gets reviewed internally and then you get an answer. So it's almost like an interview, and that's how I started off with Cassius, or Interactive One. I did a camera read for another show, which never really went through, and then I was called back, and they said, hey, you want to try and do a show? And then I came in, and I thought it was going to be another camera read, but it was actually like the first 3 episodes of Casbar. And I'm like, oh, man. And then right after the first 3 episodes of Casbar, I'm taking pictures, I'm posting them, blah, blah, blah. And then I get the contract, and I'm like, oh, man, like now I got to review the contract. People like, yo, don't sign a contract yet. You got to send out the contract to be reviewed by whoever, and so on and so forth. And granted, the contract went through, put a good amount of money in my pocket, but I was like, I need more. And I was so hard on myself with Casbar. But the unique setup of being able to play video games and the tagline
I used to be so upset with you.
Yeah. Please, let's not talk about that.
I won't. We won't talk about that right now. But
I mean, yo, listen. I learned a lot of lessons from my losses with Casbar. And I mean my losses against celebrity and celebrities and talent that I didn't know actually play video games. You feel me? Like,
I mean, they do.
I liked video games
casually. When I was the gamer, but it's like, yo, bro, what are you doing?
Hey, you were the gamer, but at the same time, it's like I used to just be happy, yo, I'm playing video games with my big bro. Like, you feel me? I'm here about the experience. I'm also happy to be playing video games with the talent. Till I rewatch the episode and they busting my behind. You got Lloyd asking me, yo, why you suck so bad? I'm like, yo, bro.
Watching that as like your older brother was like, dog.
I'm like, yo, bro.
These dudes were talking so much smack. It's like, I wish I was in. I want next, dog.
Yo, and I appreciate that because that means I got people behind me. But at the same time, though, like, casual conversation over video gameplay is a tag, and that is not easy. You feel me? Sometimes it's a strategy for people to talk to other people, and it sometimes became a part of my strategy. But if talent realized that I was talking too much, they would stop speaking and start busting my behind and then answer me after they win. So at that point, it's like you're learning so much of a dynamic, and it's gonna prepare me for whatever the next step would be. Season 2 is rolling out now, so like, well, I mean, season 2 is live.
By the time this drops, it'll probably be live. We're gonna have some, he's gonna discuss some episodes. But I just think when it comes to that and the change from season 1 to season 2, y'all should check out the change. It's very. I don't know if they're gonna do it every season, but they probably could just make it keep more being engaging. I just think that you got to talk to Jim Jones, and you got to talk to a lot of big name people. You're getting closer to you manifesting what you were dreaming about, right? And even me seeing your style, it used to be extremely like Fonzworth and Bentley with the whole I'm still suited and booted. Like, let's talk about the cash bar. Let's talk about the visual evolution, and then we're gonna talk about who are your people that you would love to like host with, like locally if you know anybody in the city, and who do you want like big name celebrities you want to work with? So we're gonna start off with Cash Bar. What do you kind of like love about like this experience with that? Because this is like Michael Wade shows up. You're on the website. You're posted. You're a damn GIF with the whole year.
Yeah, that GIF.
How does this all feel?
Man, it feel like home. I feel like somebody called my name and I came and it was like, yo, this is nice. It was my living room. Like, yo, of course it was a studio, but it felt like my living room. Like, now people are coming into my space and they're here to feel good. They're here to take their mind off of whatever they have on their press run going on. And I never wore a suit. And
you were just cozy, bro.
I mean, like, immediately after leaving college, I worked in a school as a counselor, just to give back. Well, not just to give back; it paid the bills.
Yeah, you got bills paid.
But I felt like I was being a role model for my students, because I told them, like, yo, listen, I wear a suit, but just to show you that I could wear a suit, and so you know that if you have to, you can wear a suit, but it's still gonna be me. It's still going to be the same intellect coming out of, my mouth when I speak to you, whether I got on a suit or I got on a hoodie. And just because I have on a hoodie doesn't mean that you should judge me. And just because you have on a hoodie doesn't mean that the world should judge you, but understand that the world could possibly judge you. And that's my message to, like, the young people who I've ever mentored or been a role model for. But most importantly, like, my students and my players, because now I coach. And I try and teach them all the time, like, yo, listen, you can dress up all you want, but if your head is hollow, somebody gonna find out fast. Jamaicans say the emptiest barrel always makes the most noise.
That's a fact.
And then you begin to realize, like, the power of silence or lesser dialogue. I think Cast Bar allowed me to understand that, yo, if you are the host, there's nobody to help you. There were times when I've had co-hosts on during live shows, and they've, we've meshed very well, or if they've carried the brunt of it, but I've kind of, I don't want to say stole the show, but it's like I'm a little bit more, I can't say I'm more experienced, because I'm not always more experienced than hosts that I always co-host with, but I've been around co-hosts that are more experienced than me, and I've seen what they did, where it was like I read all the lines and but you dropped the right track and you had the right ad lib for this and you knew exactly how to get the crowd hyped with that, and it's like, dag, like, I just gotta understand and learn that. And then when you're on camera, there's no crowd to gauge how well something's being done. There's one person, and that's the person you're speaking to. So if they're not, catching on to the question, or if they're not staying on topic, I wouldn't necessarily say that it's the host's fault, but that's where your personality comes in to reel it in and make it seem natural and organic. And I've learned to flex and bend my personality, because I've interviewed people that I wasn't necessarily comfortable interviewing. For example, Terrence J, like, I wasn't comfortable at first, but as soon as it started, he was so professional that he let me know, like, yo,
that's your guy. That's one of the people that you just saw.
Bro, exactly. But he also told me, like, yo, your L's are not losses, they're your lessons. I mean, he didn't teach me that. I heard it before, but it's like,
just that re-emphasis.
Seeing you on stage, and then now we playing video games, and yeah, you won. It's like, all right, you still good at which. It was almost like symbolic. It was like symbolism as to, like, yo, there's a lot further for you to go, young whippersnapper. But he that was like olive branch. Like he held me down. He came to my show. Like, thank you. I'm forever grateful. The show allowed me to be grateful. So now when it comes to co-hosts, I can't necessarily say that I want one co-host per se.
So, and also, I want to make sure when I'm asking the question, I wasn't even thinking for television. So, just want to make sure.
Oh, live?
I don't.
Anyway.
I don't see you needing a co-host in that. I'm thinking of events because people have always said, how comes you and your brother don't ever like co-host? Because it's like they're thinking like the Wayans brothers. So you would be like Sean, the more, suavemente dude, and I'd be Marlon, like the more goofy, which is interesting because Sean's the early one and Marlon's the younger one. But just from our styles, and I was like, yo, we would. I would have no problem because I would know from that dynamic, I would be Mike too. I'd be like the B Mike because I would let you do like the alley-oops and I'll just let you keep dropping 30, 40.
That's also the thing. It's like, yo, co-host is like NBA Jam. It's no, you feel me? AB is.
But it kind of does though. It depends.
Boom bow.
If we have a good chemistry, which I figure we will, because we're siblings, so we have the timing. But for some other people, you can see like the sit down setting. Certain people be carrying it, and you've seen some events. That's why I'm just saying, there's some people that you've mentioned to me that you love seeing how they operate. And there's some people that you're not fond of. But I'm saying if this is a live event, I'm thinking like you've seen Duce Palooza, you've seen other big names like the R&B parties and all these things. If you had like a stage, let's say you're hosting a big ass party in Barclays or in Madison Square Garden, or let's say in Irving Plaza, any of those places. I don't even know if I said it right. Was it Irving Plaza? It's like one of those things by 14th Street. What is it called? Oh my God. It reopened. It's lost.
Reopened? It might be. Is it? That's where the Duce Palooza thing.
I think it is.
The one that Jay-Z reopened.
Yes. I was saying the right thing.
Yeah.
Urban Plaza.
Yeah,
Research guys.
Yeah.
Like
It's a great space.
It is. It's a lovely space.
Lord.
I'm just saying, just like local influencers. I know you're focused on the work. Who would you, if you had to name like a couple? I'm not even gonna limit you. Couple, and just think couple, and who are the big name people like celebrities you would love to work with?
So I'm gonna say it like this. You feel me? Regardless, hosting with you, I wanna hope, like, this is something that we've also spoken about off air. I'd want to host like a great award show with you, simply because the Chris Rock and Tony Rock vibe. I don't think that this industry has really capitalized off of their
dynamic.
Exactly. And dynamic is huge when it comes to hosting, because dynamic is, it's almost like duality. It's like one cannot exist without the other. You feel me? I've also played a role in a show where it seems like the lesser role, but I've literally just thrown alleys the whole show for the other person to thrive. And I think like a professional show, like, Grammys, Oscars, whatever may have you, if we were to be able to host that, we'd be doing a lot more than hosting the show. Your show, it's not about the show, it's about the message that you put across.
Also the experience. I think we'd do it well.
Yeah, but I mean, in due time, mainly because I don't want nobody to book me because I'm your brother, or book you because versa. You feel me? It's like, nah, we both deserve to be here. So it's like, listen, I can never look at you and say, yeah, you're here because of me, or I'm here because of you, because then that comes with like a little pull and
that would be
pull and tug.
I just feel like at that point, cross fingers, when that time does come, I just feel like at that point, especially if we actually do get selected for that. Changing. We'll definitely deserve it. So obviously in my mind, you're definitely, I mean, it's not an interview for me, but you're definitely like my top 3, top 5 people. If I can host like a big event, like I would definitely be with you. But
I also gotta be comfortable. So I think others would be somebody,
So for those of you that are kind of like viewing this, or if you're listening to this, you're probably wondering why this abrupt breaking of the fourth wall. So in this section, I was kind of inquiring with my little brother about, a host that he would love to do parties with. Obviously, me and my brother have a deep respect for each other. So I think on like the highest stage, like, like one of those big time award ceremonies, like, I don't know, Grammys is music, but the Academy Awards, the Oscars type of thing, him being a host, me being a comedian, we want to work together. But he listed some other names. One of the names is actually an individual that has come to light, has done some heinous actions against a large amount of women. and some of them I know, and it doesn't matter if I knew them or not. It's just we don't endorse that type of character on this platform. So this is coming from something creatives. This is coming from me as Howard Nedry Jr., aka Skip from BK, aka the founder of Cove Alpha, the host of Dreams Money Can Buy, and also on behalf of my brother who's not here right now. But I just didn't want to do like a prompt in the beginning of the episode. I don't want people having to listen to the episode just to hear what it is about that individual. And also, it just makes more sense to just mute that instead of just easily cutting it and just acting like it didn't happen. But how the actions of one person can affect so many people, and I think that's why during this time of us really protesting, using our voice, using our energy, it being all Black Lives Matter, Trans Lives Matter, just women in general. Like we have to be more conscious of our actions, and do the self work to not only just as men we got to do work to be better to support the women, but also if women say something, we got to listen to them. We got to provide a space for them that they feel comfortable, that they can grow, that they can kind of like soar as high as they need to. So I think that's why I wanted to use this time just to say how we feel about that, and how seriously we do take this. So while we did only talk for like 3 minutes about this person, and it was about their hosting ability, we recorded that 4 or 5 months ago. So it's not like we recorded this yesterday, like as if we already heard those actions and proceeded to talk about this person in this way. This is way before anything happened. And I think that's why this little timeout, just to talk to you guys directly, is important. And just hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of the episode. I think there's probably only like 15, 20 minutes left in the episode. But I just take this very seriously because it's my little brother. It's one of my favorite episodes in the season. And I really want you guys to just listen to it and just to feel it without kind of it being tarnished by someone else and their character and their kind of credentials. And just to have Michael Wade stand on his own because he deserves it. And, I love him a lot. And I just want people to know that he deserves everything he's earned in his life and much more. So just enjoy this episode. You're not going to hear this name. I think we have to also mute it in a section after this, but we'll handle that. So without further ado, we're going to glitch you right back into the episode.
So I would also say Gia Peppers.
Gia Peppers is amazing. She's one of my favorite women that just how she just is on stage. I remember she was hosting Culture Con. So we're in 2020, 2018. She was with Taylor Rooks. Yo. I mean, this is not even just. Don't even think it's like this because Taylor Rooks is bad.
Nah, this is a skip over it.
Nah, but this is because she is. But I'm talking about Taylor Rooks and Gia Peppers. They're both just phenomenal at what they do individually. Like Taylor Rooks has amazing sports interviews. Like I listen to her podcast. I'll be watching one because she's on Bleacher Report. She's amazing talent. Of course, she looks bad, but it's always great when someone's just an aficionado of their craft. Like they're about it. But Gia Peppers, like her working for the Wizards, like I listen to a lot of things from. It's a real shout out to those guys. They're the reason why I have these mics.
Big fan.
And a waste of time. But it's like she's so polished. She's so composed, and I like how she does things because she has a lay of the land because she's done it working for like the Washington Wizards and not just that, but numerous other events that. Too long to list, but that would be that's a great dynamic. I would like that.
She has definitely loaded her bases. She has so much experience that she can literally do anything, which means she's and anything in regards to events or production, like and hosting and serving as a personality,
everywhere.
Because she has such diversity when it comes to her body of work. I've always wanted to, like, hosting in an arena. You can host a concert in an arena, but when you're hosting like basketball games, come on, man, like that's a different lane. You got the Brooklyn Nets host right now, and I would love to try that. I've been to Center Court performing for Black History Month.
Shout out to that. That was amazing.
Yeah, that was a fun experience. I'm about to actually dive back into that bag because I never really addressed that memory, but. Doing something like that at home, like, or in a space where you can feel like you're an athlete. You're damn near an athlete. Like you are a star player. You're a role player, and people depend on you for content. People depend on you for news. People depend on you for things that have value and substance. And once you develop that credibility, like, it's always an amazing person to affiliate yourself with. So definitely Gia. We also did work together briefly at Revolt TV, and that was something that caught me off guard, because we Revolt, one of the personality was, the talent was out. I think it might have been South by Southwest or one of those festivals where people had to be on the road. And Gia came in and became the host, and they gave her the cards. She did everything like she'd been doing this for whenever. And then when the host came back, like, she did that one episode, or maybe it was a couple, because it might have been a week and we shot multiple throughout the week. And I was just like that type of professionalism you come through, like, excuse my language, fuck shit up and then dip. Like, nah, that's a boss. Like, I would love to, like, actually be able to see how you work and how you prep things, because, as you know, in this work, and you do hosting and comedy, and one hand washes the other. Like, it improves the other craft. I don't do comedy, so it's like hosting is just hosting. I can't really hold it as a reference for other things. But at the same time, even when I dive quick into my opening line, I'm like, man, like, I'm not gonna say it just in case anyone want a jacket, but yeah, I'm not a comedian. People find it very, very, very funny when I say, yo, like, listen, I'm not a comedian. If you don't laugh, I still get paid. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's not something that I hold as my ultimatum. Mm-hmm. But when you can dive into that craft of comedy and come back into hosting, it's like you understand that flexibility and dynamicism. That's where we're at.
Yeah, we're getting close. I think we're gonna just I think that's it. I don't know if we said it smoothly, but I think that's it. So we talked about Low Key, talked about Gia Peppers. Anybody else before we get into the big names? Because we talked about Terrence J, so that's already out the back. I have like other people in my mind that would be good with you, but is anybody locally or anybody that's like before they kind of blow up before we go to big names?
I feel like I've hosted with like a lot of people locally already. Mm-hmm. So shout outs like, YP, shout outs to the comedian, Dag. Alexa, she be doing her thing. She hosts with Chris Styles, Alexa Layton, I think her name.
Yeah, Alexa Layton, she partners with, oh my goodness.
Is it Maker's Mark that they did? I'm bugging.
I forget what event it was, but yeah, she's in her acting bag right now. But she's still great with the hosting, and she be doing podcasts, but then she be disappearing. Like, she be doing it and she be disappearing. Mm-hmm. So, but she's a dynamic person too. I would love to work with her more, because I got to do some work with her on appropriate culture. It's one of them. Shout out to Julian Steffen, and listen to his episode. Because that would be a good dynamic, because her style is different, because she's like a turn-up queen. So she gets on the mic, she gets off, so it'd be like a good back and forth.
And that's a great dynamic, because me, like a lot of people, I like to turn up, but sometimes if there's an energy that I can't match, I will very much so let it be known, like, whoa, y'all need to get on her level, or y'all need to match that energy, because I can't hold you. I would love to, but I'm just a calm guy. Like,
lay back with it, baby. Lay back. All right, cool. So we have, I think it's even. So we had Chris Styles, we had Low Key, we had Gia Peppers, and we had Alexa Layton. So actually, those are all great picks. Big names, bro. So I know we talked about Terrence J, so it just goes without saying. Nick Cannon, bro. I think that would be Cannon. That would be great.
That'd be a very, very much so like a schooling moment, because like who didn't grow up like, Nick Cannon is mad cool.
Yeah, we saw him from all that and all the things. He was like the newest dude when some of the older people were like transitioning out, and it's like, who the hell is Nick Cannon? But he earned that spot. He's like, it's kind of like he's like the Jay-Z of like Nickelodeon at that point, where he still has a role in Nickelodeon, and it's like, it's kind of like the house that Nick Cannon built, because he just stuck with it and made a lot of content for him.
And he's fearless, and he's great at leading. He's great at mentorship, regardless of what people may know specifically. And I say that to say, like, if you don't know who his mentors are, you can probably ask a lot of people, and they'll say they were inspired by him. I also think he's transitioning into a space where he has so much knowledge that he's been able to assess and put into perspective, where, like, one of my favorite interviews is with David Banner. He smoked me on 2K, but also at the same time, like, he beat one of the 2K creators, which is something he often...
Ronnie Ferg?
Yeah, he say oftentimes speaks on it. So it's like, I get it. I understand why I lost. But the knowledge that he bestowed upon me during that conversation, bro, I couldn't even focus on the interview. So when I sit down and think about like the conversations that Nick Cannon may be able to have, like this is a man who has taken a live event, right? And created a produced series from it. Like Wild 'N Out is a live event every single night. So when you sit down and think about like what I say that I like to do or I prefer live, like come on, man, this man is doing a show. He's coming through and seeing crowd interaction and feeling
make careers, bro. Like Cat Williams was on the Afion Crockett. There's a lot of people that went through that bag, and even the guest stars that be coming through and be like, yo, he helped make some careers.
Bro, he opened the floodgates. Yeah. He opened the doors and just brought everybody right through. So when you sit down and think about that, it's like that's somebody you want to be around, because what you're going to learn from him is not even necessarily about how you can only build up yourself, but you're going to learn how to naturally build yourself while building up others. Because, and that man could take an ass cutting.
Yo, I think that's one of the coolest things, because no matter what episode, they always like to bring up Mariah Carey. Even when Mariah Carey was there, they like to bring her up. That was crazy.
And I mean, that's what it boils down to. But that man right there, he's a testimony to so many things that we should just embody as young black men, like forgiveness, understanding, not taking things personal. He reads a lot.
I gotta learn some of those things, because I be taking things high key personal, bro.
Well, I mean, you got books for that, like 4 Agreements and Mastery Love and Jones.
Yeah. All right. So before we end off, we kind of skipped over this chapter, but I think it just discussing its influence on the opportunities that it granted you. Just the Sands, the Black and Gold,
Copy,
the Gorillas.
So you want me to
we're not talking about the experience, because that's
no, of course not.
We're talking about
bring it home with
that type of brotherhood, because I've seen, and I have to say, it's an honor when you're showing me like your LBs, and I'm not gonna say LBs, I'm just gonna use civilian terms. Peers, brothers, older brothers, same level brothers, brothers. Like, I really feel like that was just a great time when you transition into that, from civilian Michael Wade to Black and Gold Michael Wade. I feel like that level of confidence, you've always had confidence, but like that of just how you guys move together, how sometimes when you hosting, it's like the whistle.
Oh yeah, the whistle has to come out. The whistle has to come out with the strolling.
So just talk about that, because that's important, just to like that metamorphosis, just put a cap on it, because I feel like without that experience, I don't think we get to Michael Wade at the time frame that we get into it right now. If I'm not mistaken, I don't want to say.
So we love quotes, and you said this before, like us Nedricks, we love quotes. Yeah. So I think it was just all the more reassuring when it was like, our father favored the alphas. So
that was kind of like a inherited dream of both of us.
And it's a lot of the guidance where it's like, when I couldn't necessarily communicate or get in touch with Dad or even you, there was it was like the familiar guide in the darkness. Like when you're away at school, and a lot of people don't really address this, but you're growing in yourself, and it's a confusing time, and somebody has to remind you that you got shit to take care of, bruv. And I never forget, amongst so many quotes and poems and pieces of literature that we studied, you must learn to walk with kings but never lose your common touch. And I think that was just what I understood. Like, no matter what I wanted for myself, it would never be to make me better than somebody else. And I remember being younger, and when you're younger, you're impulsive, and you're like, I want to be this so I could prove to all these people that. I want 24,000 followers so I could prove to people that that don't got nothing to do with it, because when there's 24,000 people waiting for you, what you got to say next, and your head is hollow, ain't much going to come from it.
That's a fact.
And that was like constant persistence of me just understanding myself. Like, I'm also not even going to hold you. Like, I learned a lot about forgiveness, mainly because I was learning lessons where it was like, this is the same type of lesson that I would have learned from somebody else in my past that I may have wanted to turn away from and say, I'm not ready to learn that lesson. or I'd victimize myself and be like, nah, you're being mean to me, or this, that, and the third. Like, I was able to toughen up and weather storms. So many things happened to me during my initiation process of being an alpha man that allowed me to understand that, yo, this, like, it's perfectly fine for I don't want to say men to show love to each other, but it's like for men to take other men under the wing. Like, if we don't teach our young ones, who's gonna teach them? You feel me? If you don't show somebody the parts and the aspects of life that they can't get away from without, you know, being too hard, like tough. There is a such thing as tough love. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what, like, brought it all full circle. It was like, yo, I can't even hold you. Man, I learned how to be a better brother. And I learned that there are dynamics that come with brotherhood, companionship. There's always going to be an older, younger dynamic. But until you understand that, as a younger, you need to learn all you can from your elders. And when your time is to show, you know, what the younger time is, or younger people or population that you represent is going through, that time will come. It gave me a structure. Alpha gave me a structure. It gave me a support system to understand that, yo, this is the rule book that I, you know, agree with. Like, I understand that, yo, integrity is the only thing that you have as a man. Your word is bond. If you say you're going to do it, then do it. But if you cannot do it, don't say it. And when it boiled down to that, I also understood who I was when facing those challenges. My line name is Intel, which basically stands for the way that I approached situations. It's an acronym, so it means a whole lot more, but my approach for things like leadership was just a totally engineered approach. And I've recently been reading a book, Letters to a Young Brother by Hill Harper. Hill Harper is also an alpha. I brought him to speak at Oswego my senior year when I was graduating. And in reading that book now, I understand that it's like, I am the newer model of what people came before me tried to embody. But there are a lot of people who are after me the older I get. Like, I'm not a kid no more, so I'm not new. You feel me?
Yeah, we're getting outdated. We're getting up there.
I just gotta figure out how to keep up. You feel me? With whatever's coming out new. But I also had to figure out how to balance and show the new what was before. And it's almost like the concept of Sankofa, which I learned like when working in the school. You have to know where you're coming from to know where you're going. And Alpha is an organization. Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated is an organization that came about in 1906. So it's like the country was in a different time then. And what was needed in order to protect yourself, your household, I can't necessarily say it may not be needed now, but it's needed in a different facet. And you have to figure out how to upgrade it. Because if you learn it from an old head, you feel me, old head like, man, back, you got a problem, you should do it this way, do it that way, and they're wrong. You can't go back to that old head and get mad because, yo, you told me the wrong thing, and that blaming really went away because it's like, yo, I gotta take accountability for myself.
For your actions.
Mm-hmm. And that's a lot of what it taught me, like accountability. It really, I think it put more purpose behind the question of who is Michael Wade. Mm-hmm. And I gotta prove who I am in every single space because a lot of people sit down and say you can always tell an alpha man when he walks into a room.
That's it. It'd be funny because they be calling me that, and that's not because of me, and it's not because of just because of Dad. Mm-hmm. It's like it's not even as an alpha man because, you know, typically when people go to Morehouse, typically become an alpha man or of that lineage. If it's not alpha, one of the other brothers. This is not a shot at you other people in Divide 9, but you can tell like the severity of how serious we are, the gravity, like just learning from Pops and just how he entered the room. He was always like, damn, this man's serious. Like, we never were late. And it's like how even with that discipline, sometimes for me, I'm very annoyed at people that are late. Not at you, but like when people are really late and they'll communicate that, because it's like, you know, time is money, and I'm really trying to make a change on this. So I gotta say, it's been an honor and a pleasure to interview you.
Man,
you know?
the pleasure is truly mine because this is growth.
I know, man.
Like, man, siblings. We used to fight. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
But what I also understand is, yo, I appreciate you for everything because it was your way of letting me know, like, yo, listen, if I'm not busting your ass, somebody else is.
Pretty much.
So you gotta understand, like, listen, this is what the world's gonna be. Ain't nobody gonna let you win. You never let me win.
Nah, because it's like, I didn't get to win. Like, there was someone older than me playing video games. Like my cousin Eric, who's born on the same birthday as me. Shout out to him. That's how we learn. And it's like, we can't baby people. I can't give you that because if I give you that, it's a poor representation of like, yo, bro, you have to go out and get it. And I feel like just seeing you going out and getting it in your own way and making it your lane, I have to say it's just, dog, I'm proud, bro. It's like, we came a long way. And just seeing you continue to handle adversity, continue to bounce back, continue to own the growth, you know? Because I think that's what's important, because everyone wants to be in the spotlight like we do in different ways. But it's like, sometimes when we hit like those bad spots, how do we like learn from those bad spots? And we've kind of used our respective bad spots to make us more refined, shining young men who will be, you know, influential leaders. So this is the time at the end. I want you to shout out everything like your social media, your YouTube, and of course you don't have your website yet, but it's gonna come back. So this is your time. Go shout it out real quick.
So I mean, first and foremost, I'd like to shout out the reason as to why I'm even here. You feel me? The Father God who has allowed me to have an amazing family. You know, like that's not something that I chose. And without the family, there'd be no Michael Wade. So whoismichaelwade.com is the website as it is where you can find some of those quotes. Social media is I am Michael Wade, so IAMMICHAELWADE. Hashtag whoismichaelwade. Twitter is I am Michael Wade, just as my Instagram, because you told me that I got to do that.
Got to be continuity. It's like, it's a branding thing. Trust me. People hate having to type, and it's like they find a different name because people are very fickle. They search something, and in 15, 20 seconds, they don't find it. They're going to move on to the next thing.
And I mean, yo, that consistency is key. So, as I said before, yo, I'm thankful for everything that I've been given, every opportunity that I've been able to encounter. I gave my shout-outs for wherever I can be found, but I ain't gonna hold you. I appreciate you more than I probably could ever express, big bro. Like, you know, sometimes you never get something in the moment, but down the line, like, the reassurance every day that comes is like, yo, I had everything that I needed. Just gotta make the best of it, so.
That's a fact. And with that being said, this is your host, once again, Skip from BK. Please like, subscribe, rate if it's on, you know, Apple Music, if you're one of those people listening to Apple Podcast. And guys, just keep sharing it. Stay tuned for the next episodes, and we out. Peace.
Big facts.
Hey, how you doing? So you thought you were getting into the next podcast, but surprise, quick Anchor ad from your boy. No, all real talk. Anchor is such an amazing platform when it comes to allowing creatives a chance to enter into the podcast market without any, you know, cost to us for having hosted. You can make your intro, outro. You can easily share it to numerous streaming platforms at just a click of a button, and you can make money. All you have to do is just, you know, use this app, continue making content. They'll try to present you in front of consumers and an audience that, you know, would probably want to listen to you some more and get some money, and do it at no, you know, stress to you. So definitely, guys, download the Anchor app, get it done, make some more content, join your boy. Let's make this a better place audio wise. And if you got to the end of this episode, you probably care about my little brother, Michael Wade, an amazing young man, an amazing host, amazing personality, on-air talent. Please follow him on I Am Michael Wade on Twitter and on Instagram. So it's I am Michael. So it's like basically two M's back to back. Michael Wade, and make sure it's an A before the E on the Michael. Don't misspell it. Don't disrespect my boy. Okay? Don't disrespect the little brother. And you follow him on Twitter and Instagram. Try to book him. Because that band's good as hell. So do that for your boy, for his brother, because that boy is good. And if you don't book him, we gonna fight. If you don't know who this is, if you haven't been listening for this all the time, it's Skip from BK. So you can follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on Instagram and all that stuff, and Facebook and Tumblr and a Lamborghini. Because I probably put my tag on a Lamborghini. I don't know why I do that, but kind of crazy. If you do want to make sure you keep up with Dreams Money Can Buy, make sure that you are following Cove Alpha on Twitter and Instagram. That's where it will be posted. Follow our amazing partners, because it's a great team over there. Something Creatives, amazing broadcasting production company. They are the ones that make sure the sound is good. So, I got this equipment, but behind the scenes, you need people that are professionals to make it look and sound great. So they do the audio, they do the video. Obviously, you want to pay for it, because if they making me look good, they can make you look good, but you got to make sure you bring the coins, because your boy has to bring the coins and bring the brink trucks out. But they are worth it, and they do their own web series too. So you have a full-fledged production company there. So please follow them on Instagram and follow them on YouTube to watch some of their projects. Most notably, as of right now, Amare. So without further ado, enjoy the rest of your day or morning. Is it afternoon where you are? Maybe evening or nighttime? Wherever it is. Have a good time. And I say deuces. Deuce.